All right, good evening, and welcome to the Mercedes City Commission regular meeting. It is April 15th, 2025, 6:30 p.m., and I will now call this meeting to order. Next, I'll establish quorum. I have Commissioner Martinez. I have Dr. Commissioner Saldana. I have Commissioner Garcia and myself, Mayor, and that is a quorum. We now have the Pledge of Allegiance by myself. I'm sorry, invocation by Commissioner Garcia.
We can please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon our community and with all our employees here in the city of Mercedes. We ask you that you give us sound mind, that we make the best decisions for our community tonight. We ask that you be with our servicemen that are across the seas, overseas, away from their families, that you keep them safe. We ask this through Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we have open forum. Please, Secretary, Madam Secretary, nobody? All right, moving on to presentations. We have a presentation, Water Reporting Compliance Update, South Texas Bright Water Solutions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to start by thank you for the opportunity to be here and provide a brief update on where the city of Mercedes stands in terms of water loss and key reporting requirements to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and, of course, the Texas Water Development Board. My name is Jonas Gonzalez. I'm with South Texas Bright Water Solutions, and I serve as a water and wastewater consultant. My background leans heavily towards water treatment. It's what I do. It's what I enjoy, and I've dedicated many years to it. Let me begin with the city's water sources. As many of you know, Mercedes relies on a combination of groundwater and surface water. In 2024, the city brought in approximately 714 million gallons of water. Of that, about 305 million gallons of water were groundwater pumped from the well. At the water treatment plant, the remaining 409 million came from surface water, the canal that comes from irrigation district number 9. That combined total is just shy of 715 million gallons, a substantial amount of water. And I'd like to note that the presence of a productive groundwater well is a significant advantage that the city of Mercedes has. Not every city has access to that kind of resource, and it provides the city with a critical level of resilience and flexibility. So, you know, kudos to you for that. Now, regarding water loss, it's been some time since a water loss audit was submitted to the Texas Water Development. These audits are important, not only for compliance, of course, but because they're often linked to funding opportunities. Both Texas Water and the TCEQ require that these reports from utilities meet certain population thresholds or have financial obligations with the state. The city of Mercedes certainly, you know, fits those categories. So it's important that these reports are submitted to Texas Water and the TCEQ. I'm pleased to share that the 2023 and 2024 water loss audits, along with the water use survey, have been completed and submitted to the Texas Water. So probably want to know what does the data show. The city recorded a total water loss of approximately 12.34% according to the data. That means just over 12% of the water introduced into the distribution system never reached the customer due to leaks, meter inaccuracies, or other causes that just happen in every distribution system throughout the country. Now, some degree of loss is expected in every system, but this result, you know, it's actually a positive development. And you're probably wondering why, but to put it into context, when the city adopted its water conservation plan in November of 2022, the baseline water loss was about 18%. The goal was to bring that number down to 10% by 2025. At the end of 2024, we're already at 12.34%. And that's a substantial improvement in a relatively short period of time. It reflects the impact of your conservation policies and the work, your staff has been obviously putting in. This information, of course, like I said, has been submitted to Texas Water, and I believe it highlights how effective your conservation plan has been and the measures you've taken have been. Additionally, there's another achievement that I'd like to bring to your attention. The 2022 conservation plan also set a goal for reducing your per capita water consumption. That means how much water each person of the population in your served population consumes. So at the end of 2024, at the time of adoption, 2022, each resident used about 177 gallons of water per person per day. So the goal was to reduce that to 95 gallons per day within 5 years. As of the end of 2024, I'm happy to
Per
report.
person
Yeah,
or household?
per person.
Wow.
Yeah, per capita means per person.
Sure, yeah.
There's a lot of
but I thought- yeah,
confusion because some people say per connection,
yeah.
but Texas Water wants to know, okay, there's this many people in your population.
Divided.
How much water is each person using up? And back in 2022, it was about 177 gallons per person served per day. Again, the goal was to get it down to 95 within 5 years of 2022. So I'm happy to report that at the end of 2024, you're at about 97.2 gallons per person per day. That's, nearly at the goal according to the data, and you're ahead of schedule. And again, I think it talks about the commitment that the city manager and staff, and of course, the city council and mayor, public works team, and everybody has put in. So looking ahead, there's still a few important things pending that we're still due from 2024. So the Water Conservation Annual Report is due May 1st to Texas Water Development Board. So we're working on that. I'm working with city staff, and we should be submitting that in the coming days. And now, the utility profile is actually due to the TCEQ, and that's also in development. That's a little bit more comprehensive. That takes a bit longer because it requires about 5 years worth of data, historical data that the TCEQ wants to see on water loss, water usage, population. So it's in progress. We'll get that done as soon as possible. But, in closing, I'd like to thank the mayor and council, for your support. And of course, I'd like to thank the city manager, Mr. Perez, and public utility staff, assistant city manager for their support. I've been asking for a lot of information from your utility staff, so they probably don't like me too much, but I hate to break it to them, I'll be asking for more. But have you got any questions, Mayor and Council? I just want to thank you again for the opportunity.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. The great report, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
So the significant drop from 18% to 12%, I know that you said it was due to our conservation, but what would be the major, like, are we doing less testing of the water? Are people using less? Are you able to tell us some of that? And then that's kind of my follow-up question.
So I think a lot of it is attributed to the rates that have recently changed. I know that's been, the city of Mercedes did make some changes to their water rates. I think that also encourages people to be a bit more cautious, frugal about the amount of water that they use. As we know, these past couple of years have been kind of iffy on in terms of drought. I mean, we've gotten a little bit of relief, obviously, but and we've learned that doesn't last too long. So I think that a lot of it has to do with those measures that the city leadership has put into play. And also, a lot of water is lost, unfortunately, due to leaks. And just like any other city this size, they have a lot of leaks. But at this point, is there room for improvement? Again, you're still not at that goal of 10%. We still got all of 2025 left. So when 2025 is over, we can revisit and see where we're at. I think
That's why I'm asking to see if, I know it's a hard ask, but if there's something you could pinpoint at what's been most successful, I guess it would have to be second, because their water rate thing, that's already automatically doing what it's going to do. But
yes, sir.
if there's other points of reference that we can use to try and help improve this ourselves to get the word out and stuff like that.
Certainly, yeah. So water breaks, that's a big one.
Okay.
Handling water breaks, being effective on those is really big, because according to the data, most of your losses come from unaccounted for.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
From water breaks. Now, obviously, there's been some improvement because your ILI, or your infrastructure leakage index, is actually really good. Most cities the size of Mercedes, between 10 and 50,000 people, have an index number of three and above. Now, it goes from 1 to 4, 1 being perfect, 4 being you need to fix. Mercedes is about a 2 right now. So that's not good. That's good.
And explain to me
Accept-
what that ILA is. I'm sorry, I apologize.
So it's the way that Texas Water and, you know, how Texas Water evaluates how much water you lose due to leaks,
Okay.
you know?
Alright.
So in,
So while we're losing the leaks, it doesn't mean we're losing a lot to leaks. It just means that we are.
yeah, well, you're actually better
Could
than.
be worse.
Yeah,
than
no,
most.
no, you're better than most of the cities your size in Texas,
So
believe it
we
or
were
not.
a 2, but we were a what before?
Well, I don't have data on what you were before yet.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's gonna be in the utility profile. So I'll be able to present council with that information. in the
So
future.
these water mains that were bursting once a week, we don't necessarily have any less of those. We're just fixing them faster, or
It
what?
could be. It seems to be the case that you're losing less water on that.
I know that we've gotten aggressive about fixing more than just the leak. Like if one area is broken, but we know it's gonna further break, then we'll replace that whole line, which they've been aggressive about.
Yes, sir.
So I know that has some of it.
Well, that makes a big difference, believe it or not. And the fact that you're at a 2 when most cities your size are a 3 and above, I think speaks volumes and as to what, you know, your staff and your managers are doing to improve that.
And
So
I have one final one. Were you gonna follow up on that, Doc? Okay, so my final one, I think you've answered it by the earlier one, but I just want to make sure. When we went from 177 per capita to 97 per capita, is that what you're measuring at the what's that called? What measures the water that we sell to the consumer? No, the actual
Building or what?
no, the actual the water main, the water meter.
yes, sir.
Yeah, so is this measured at the meter or does this include the losses that you were talking about here?
So yeah, it encompasses what you're injecting into the water system as a whole versus what you're selling or you're metering, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know necessarily if the people are conserving. It could be the actual fixing of the pipes or one or the other, or a mixture of both.
It could be a combination of both, but certainly shows that the people are certainly being more conscientious about their water.
Okay, so this
the water
does,
that
this
they're
measurement
using.
does come from the meter itself.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, that's what I was trying to
Certainly,
find
yes.
out.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's me. I
Yes,
can
sir.
remember meter.
No, good
All right,
question.
thank
though.
you.
Good question, though,
All right,
Mayor.
anybody else?
I've got a question,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Gonzalez. Do you, by any chance, have an idea the percentage of water loss due to the auto flushing because we don't have a looping in all over town like we should?
I don't have an exact number in front of me, although I can provide it to you. I can provide that
Because
information
that would
to
be
you.
interesting if we could tie a cost to that. Maybe the cost could help us get the looping set up and avoid additional water loss.
There is a cost of approximately just under $200,000 for 2024 that was lost. Now, and it's broken down. I just don't have it in front of me, so I can actually provide that to you, Mr. Pettis. It's an excellent question.
That would be very helpful.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure you get that.
I got a curious question, and when I think of water conservation, I don't know why, but I think of San Antonio and I think of El Paso and some of those kinds of places, and I hate to compare ourselves to cities like that, but they're kind of on the forefront of reuse and purple pipe systems and incentives to remove turf and then replace it with something else, or you know, just all kinds of ways of minimizing water use. And so I can't remember what the last figure was on a per capita in El Paso, but I want to say it was like 60 or 70 or something like that. Do you have figures for industry leaders, I guess, in water conservation on a per capita basis with municipalities?
So from what I don't have anything in front of me as far as for cities that big, but generally what we've seen is that bigger cities generally have a higher, always have a higher per capita use. It's gonna always be,
Can't
once they
help
get
it,
above
yeah.
that 50,000, it goes up, you know? Yeah.
So it's not a fair comparison.
It would be difficult to compare that. Yeah, it would be very difficult just because of the sheer size of it.
Okay.
But good question. though.
I think this is a fantastic report. I think it gives us also explanations of where we need to go. So I think you're gonna find that we have a lot less breaks, and I'm sure summer's coming and the ground will start shifting again and all that. But by now we would be seeing breaks the last few years, and they've gotten less and less. So
Sure.
hopefully that's what this does, and then we can see a savings on it, that our investment in those pipes
Yes, sir.
are paying off. So,
Well, I think the measures you've taken so far are, beginning to bear fruit. The fact that management is attacking these things aggressively, that in combination with the plan that you implemented in 2022 and your water rates, I think it's all coming together and it's bearing fruit. Is there room for improvement? Sure. I would like to assist the city in getting to that 10% or below, even optimizing that. So I think that's an excellent goal for us to be able to set if, we'd like to do it. I think it can be done.
all right. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Moving on
Excuse me,
to,
gentlemen, I just want to
go ahead.
let you guys know I am present.
Dr. Jacob.
Who's that?
Dr. Hall,
Oh, hey, Doc. Sorry, I didn't know you were there. Go ahead.
he just wanted to document his presence for the record.
Oh, okay. All right. So moving on to item number B, 6B, presentation from SAM GIS Consulting, Water and Sewer GIS Mapping.
They signing off?
Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Hey, so I was asked to give an update on the current progress of the project in regards to the sewer infrastructure mapping assessment as well as the water. So I don't know how many of you are aware of the current project and the progress that we've made on both ends, but we started in October. Initially, the goal was to make it through the entire mapping and assessment of the structures for both sanitary, sewer, and water. But once we got into that work, we quickly realized that there was a high number of, especially sewer infrastructure, that was degraded to the point where our crews were not able to access it. And in cases even where they were able to access it, there was a lot of buildup and blockage in there that caused those structures to be filled up to the point where you can't actually do any type of measurement or assessment on that. Part of our process is to visually inspect the structures from the top side. Once we have that rim elevation, we're able to measure down and get the pipe sizes and materials as well as the invert depth. So those are some of the struggles that we faced. And I've worked closely with Mr. Villagomez and his crews, as well as trying to keep Mr. Perez and the rest of his team updated on the day-to-day.
Can you get ready, baby?
I'm sorry, was there a question? Oh, there's a little bit of background noise.
If it's time for questions, I have one. Well, how far are we? I ran into one of your guys along a couple of city streets, and I hope it's okay, but I kind of started talking to him, but just kind of gauging how everything was going. And at the time, I think he was checking fire hydrants and water, and he said it was about 50% done. But I wonder, at this point, I know you ran into some unforeseen delays due to some of the things you mentioned, but how long before you anticipate finishing, or at least having something in hand that you can say, here's what you got and here's what we couldn't figure out, for lack of better words?
Absolutely. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I'm not sure if it's something that you would all be able to see or not. Okay, are you all able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'll give you a quick rundown on the water. So we have made it through, as far as what I know, the bulk of the areas. Now, part of this process does involve going back through some of these areas, marking up things that have questions as far as questions from our end, and then things that you see or have questions on in the map. So I've provided this map over to Tomas, and we've looked at some of these things together. So just as an example of some of what this GIS provides, you can start to see the system come together, your different data displayed in terms of the water mains, the sizes, and then on objects such as the hydrants, we actually have pictures from when the crews were on site documenting, the color, the year, the manufacturer, the number and size of the different outlets, as well as their position there as well. And over time, you will have the option to fill in more of this information for however you decide to track different things in your system. So if you're going to go in there and document the flow, any maintenance dates or any things like that, those are things that will be available in there. And I've also spoken with Tomas last week about working with the fire department to see how maybe some of these maps can cross-pollinate with some of the work that they do, just to keep the system up to date and allow the people who are actually doing various tests and maintenance for these types of things to just integrate with it. In terms of the sewer work, we can look at how the data has been documented. Now, the different colors here can be kind of confusing up front, so I'll do my best to run through these and not take up too much time. The main majority of what we came across were going to be structures that were buried, or the lids were stuck due to just the buildup of those gases and that corrosion over time. I know that there was a lot of structures that ended up needing to be replaced. And I know that that work has been ongoing. When Tomas and I spoke initially, we weren't sure what the time frame would be on that. I talked to him just this last week, and he said that his crews had wrapped up with all the structures that I had sent down as far as what we had found and the issues we encountered. So that is good news, and we're looking at currently getting our crews rescheduled to come back and start revisiting all of that and allow us to tie in the data. So you can see if the structures are green, then that means we've been able to get a collection on it. And even in the structures where you can see that we've gotten a collection, a lot of times the structures themselves, are facing some deterioration. You can see a rip here in the actual manhole structure itself, and some buildup down in there. But this, was a structure that we were able to measure down and get that, at least the size and the flow of that kind of structure. Some of these other ones that we encountered that needs cleaned, they're impacted to the point where once you open that up, there's little to no information that you can actually get from an assessment standpoint from there. Like, I couldn't tell you if there's one pipe or four pipes coming into that and which direction it's flowing out of. So those are a lot of the issues that, you all were facing. And I know that that was probably something that you were not prepared for at the time, but it sounds like that you've been able to take the actions to get a lot of that ready for us to come back down and really get back to work on. So that'll be the next step.
Does this mapping include storm drainage?
No, it does not. I talked to Tomas and Mr. Perez about that at the beginning of this project. We do offer storm mapping services, but at the time of the agreement, water and sewer were the only things that were in the contract.
So, when you come back, how much time do you anticipate it will take to catch up on what Tom has already cleared up for you to go and inspect?
I'd say our crews average about 40 to 50 structures a day if things go the way they should. So just to pull a quick count from the map. Let's see here. I would say probably 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I only heard the very last part of that.
That was Tom. He was asking if you were gonna be sending the water maps shortly. Sorry.
I believe I sent that information over just a few days ago. I'll resend it if it didn't make it to you.
If you would, please.
Absolutely, sir.
Well, I'd like to compliment both teams, Kelton and Tom, because this has taken a lot of coordination. Tom had to take on this on top of all the other responsibilities. And when these manholes are glued together because of rust for so many years that haven't been opened up, in some cases, they were breaking the concrete around the area and completely redoing the whole cover. So it wasn't just go and turn this thing loose and open it up for us. In some cases, it was go find it. It's covered up in dirt. We don't know where it's at. And so some of those things, those tasks were not that simple and straightforward. They're time consuming, and a lot of coordination and communication has happened throughout the last 6 months. So I know we come a long ways and we're very close. But all this is absolutely necessary so we can have a little more logistical approach to going forward and maintaining and keeping up with lines.
Well, I know we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and we've had a lot of start and stop, so it's kind of nice to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, sir.
How long would it take, assuming, I don't want to assume who would get the contract, but if you all took on doing the same thing for drainage, how long would it take for a city our size, more or less? Doesn't have to be an exact date, just a little guesstimation of what it would take to do it.
Simple.
Hard, I wouldn't think.
There's not much.
Yeah, to be honest, it would be tough for me to give you a time frame just because I don't know if, what kind of data is available. I don't know what kind of infrastructure you have. I would say, just as an estimate, we're around the same 40 to 50 structures a day is typically what our collection rate is. Obviously, if we face something similar to this, where a lot of the structures were inaccessible or degraded severely, that will impact what we're able to do. And obviously, having any kind of heads up information to work off of allows us to be quicker. So if we have to send people street by street and look for every inlet, look for every culvert, outfall, those type of things obviously takes a lot longer. But I would say you can expect to average about 40 to 50 structures a day.
Thank you.
I just had a quick comment, Mayor, fellow commission. Yeah, I just obviously I just want to convey that the message that hurricane season obviously is around the corner, and anything that we do, we gotta just be very decisive. But at the same time, we got to look at our finances as well. But with hurricane around the corner, timing is everything. And I would hate to say, we might be hit with a storm or two. I'm just getting that feeling. But we've done a lot of improvements, and there's more to be done. But we all have to just take that into consideration. And all of y'all have been great on it. And I just wanted to convey that message, where I think for our citizens, that with hurricane around the corner, and with this recent storm here, it just kind of brings a little eerie feel to it. But I know we're going to do the best interest for our community. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Thank you, Doc. Any other questions?
Well, my only cautionary comment would be, let's finish this before we muddy the stormwater, so to speak. And it would be nice to have that, but I think the water and the wastewater is the priority right now. So that's the only thing I want to add.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good job, Tom. Good job, Kelton. Appreciate you both.
Yes, thank you for your
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item 7, consent agenda, approval of minutes for meeting held April 1st, 2025.
Mayor, make a motion to approve minutes for meeting held April 1st, 2025.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 8, management items, present, discuss, consider, possibly take action regarding final plat approval for Hacienda Olivia Phase 2.
Do we have real
If
Delta?
we, would a motion get you here quicker? I move for approval of, let's see, what do we got here? Of,
You wanna
final
come in-
plat approval for Hacienda Olivia Phase 2, but I do have questions.
I have a motion by Dr. Saldana. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Garcia. Questions?
Oh, well, now that I'm looking at 9A, I think that's where my question is, but this is just little brother to Phase 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, so nothing out of the ordinary, it's just the
For phase
continuation.
2 is single family. Phase 4 that they're asking for the
Right, right.
rezone, that's gonna be
That's the one we're
townhouses.
gonna talk about, yeah. Okay.
So you want to give us just a little snippet on two, like how many houses or anything like that?
There's 60 lots, it's all single families, 13.8 acres. We did just a little walkthrough today. Everything is good to go. They're missing just a little details in the light poles, but that's about it.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9A, approval of first reading of ordinance 2025-08 to rezone Hacienda Olivia Phase 4.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2025 -08 to rezone Hacienda Olivia Phase 4 and forego the reading.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Discussion? You want to give us a little rundown?
So that one they're gonna be rezoning to townhouses. So they mostly want to do like garden house, but they just want smaller lots. They're giving about 10 lots just to do a little basketball court and a little like walking trail for the community.
You have any questions? Go ahead.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
I think this is a rezone.
Mhm.
So this has been a somewhat controversial, item, I guess. I think it's still a little premature, but I know that because of the rezoning, we're required by law to notify people that live within a certain number of feet of this development that we're doing this. And so, you know, people get curious and they have questions and so forth. And then we had a pretty, we had a planning and zoning meeting where a lot of questions were asked and hopefully answered and addressed to some extent. But I just want to mention that this is just a rezone. We still got, I know they've done a lot of the engineering work already, so they're way ahead of the game, and we'll see that at some point in time. But I don't want anybody thinking we're trying to sneak something through here, anything like that. We're well aware of the concerns and everything, and there'll be time for that later, I guess.
And I think, I'm glad you brought that up, Doc. The thing is this, and this isn't the first time that when we rezone something or even just rezone it so that somebody can do something with it from farmland to, the understanding here is that and it's taken us a while to get to this point to where the group that does that, the planning and zoning, their job is to make sure that the residents have a right to come forward and know what's happening in their area. It's not their job to approve engineering plats and studies and all that kind of stuff. All that comes from afterwards. And I know I'm not coaching you. I'm trying to tell anybody who might be listening, because I heard some of the complaints. I got some calls, some emails. And I think it's important that people know that sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, Denise, but when you do have these things, some of the concerns were, what about flooding? I said, well, when they come in, that's when you fix a lot of the flooding issues, because they have to increase the capacity of those areas. Same thing with sewage. And one of the other ones was traffic studies. They were concerned that traffic was going to congest the area. And the only thing is that I just want to make sure that people know, like the doc did right now, that they understand that we're taking a look at all of that. We're just not approving things and saying, well, the heck with it, let the people deal with it later. That's not what's going on. It's a long process, or not long, but it's multiple layers of process to protect themselves. If the sewer line needs to be bigger, we're going to make it bigger. You know, if there's a propensity of thinking that somebody can see from a 2-story building into your house, we can ask them to build a wall, you know, or fencing. So like the doc said, it's not the end all. This is just a process, and we're still going to make sure we take care of the interests of the people in that area. And then lastly, we all, at least I was more of a bedroom community guy, but everybody wanted growth, and I think Mercedes is growing. But I need to remind people that people talk about the growth of downtown. And this is probably the only opportunity I'm going to have to say this other than on a campaign trail, right? But the reason that you have Donnas and Alamos and San Juans that have a lot of traffic through their downtown is because that road runs all the way to Military Highway and onto Mexico. So somebody can have a destination in Mercedes because it ends right here. And somebody, forefathers, put 491 instead of Texas all the way over there. Well, they diverted away from us to get over there. So the only destination for us is people who live in Mercedes. So the people who want downtown fixed and downtown to look better, we don't invest in it, other people do. And the only way we're going to do that is if we have the population to necessitate somebody buying those buildings. So like the doc, I'm simply making a statement. It's not a question. It's a statement. I just wanted you to correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong so far?
No.
So it's real important that when people say, hey, when are we going to do something about downtown? We have to have a reason for people to want to invest in downtown. And the only way to do that is to have more rooftops. So it's very important that the people that know, and we were blessed that the people that were asking questions, where I think the reason they're not here, Doc, is because it was they got it. It wasn't like they were just asking crazy questions. They had legitimate questions. And hopefully we answered them, but at the same time that they can help us spread the word that if we stop every time we're going to grow, then we're not ever going to fix downtown, and we're not ever going to have the population that we need to make some of these improvements. So I'm sorry that I used your presentation to make that statement, but I appreciate you and thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything or question or comment? All right. Thank you, Denise. Appreciate it.
Denise.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 9B, approval of first reading of ordinance 2025-09 to rezone lot 15 Woodland Acres subdivision. Go ahead, ma'am.
So this one, it's the property owners, Killery Properties. They have a duplex right next door. We did let the neighbors know. We sent them letters. We had the open public hearing, the PNC. There was no one against it. By the plat and by the ordinance, it meets requirements. So PNC went ahead and approved that.
Where is this at, dude?
It's towards by Orange Street.
Right in the little dog leg. It's that last.
Oh, in that little open area?
Yeah.
All right. Well, any questions? Yes.
I make a motion to go ahead and approve the first reading of ordinance 2025-09 to rezone lot 15 Woodland Acres subdivision. Forego the reading.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Dr. Saldana. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
Bids and contracts approval to renew contract for prosecutor services with David Cadena.
I did review it, Your Honor, and I do, Your Honor.
Close enough.
And I do
Almost finishing
recommend-
law school, just about there. All right, we have a recommendation approval on the contract. Do I have a
Second.
motion? I have a motion by Dr. Saldana. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. City manager update, water treatment plant equipment update.
So that's moving along. You guys had approved that a couple of meetings back. Just want to give you a quick update. We're not just sitting there waiting for things to happen. We had a couple of things we had to clarify through the TIPS program, and that's been done as of today, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And I did forward a proposed contract to the company, CB3, and they are reviewing it. So we're pretty close.
All right, thank you on that. Item B, introduction of new public information officer.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'd like to introduce Mr. Castellanos. Would you like to come up here for a second, sir? Introduce yourself. I hope you're not shy. It's a public.
It's the wrong group to be
Yeah, yeah.
shy with.
Wrong role if I'm shy. My name is Eduardo Castellanos. I've lived in the RGV my entire life. Graduated with my degree in political science. Have worked in the political side of things since 2018. Not necessarily on the city side of things. So the technicalities are still something I'm getting used to. But I was like, if you need someone to yell at people, that's me.
You to yell at them or them to yell at you?
I'll take it either way.
Alright.
Either way.
It's like I've been on both ends of the stick. So
So Eduardo, welcome.
thank you.
I have some thought processes on PIO, and I'll probably be a pain for you because they work for me at the sheriff's office, so I'm real involved in the public information world. And one of the things that I feel like, and by the way, the city manager was real high up on your capabilities, and I trust him implicitly. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. I just want to make sure you know some of the expectations that I have, and I don't know, and the commissioner can tell you theirs, but Mercedes has a lot of stuff going on, not just in building and not just in land and stuff like that, but in some of the work we're doing, like what we're doing right now with our streets and GIS mapping and all that stuff. And I see people in other towns where somebody burps and all of a sudden there's an article out on them, and we're here plucking people out of cars or, you know, fixing major roads and stuff, and we don't come out at all because it's hard to pull somebody who's busy doing stuff and say, hey, you're going to be putting together a public information thing. So there's a lot of facets to what you're going to do, but I think that's one of the main ones for me anyway, is that I just want people to know what we're doing. I don't care about politics. I don't care. That's not why I'm telling it either. It's not about getting elected or anything. The people need to know what's being done for their city. And this has nothing to do with you. You weren't here for this. But I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she was like, we're at HEB, and she's like, man, when is something going to happen here in Mercedes? It's dead. And I was like, ma'am, you don't follow? She goes, well, I don't have Facebook. I know, man. I was like, well, so I told her, I said, man, we put out stuff all the time. She's like, well, I don't have Facebook. I said, well, okay. I said, but there's $1 billion worth of stuff that's already been here in the city. And I started telling her, and she had no concept of it. Started telling her about some of the improvements we made in our drainage and our water, in our sewer system, the upgrades, and some of the projects that we did with backflow preventers and all this. She was oblivious to it. So that's kind of what I would like to see for my city. Hopefully you're up to the task. Like I said, the city manager said he feels like you are. So, I wish you luck and God's blessing, and I hope we have a good relationship with you, and thank you for taking the challenge. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I won't let you guys down.
Okay, appreciate it. Anybody else? Cody? All right, thank you. Moving on to item 12, executive session, chapter 551, Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with attorney, sections 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, section 551.074, personnel matters, and section 551.087. And we'll be coming back for item 13 after we discuss these items. I have a motion to go on executive.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Martinez, second by Dr. Saldana. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're in executive session. It is 7:15 PM.
Pero ya están
All
ready.
right. So it is 8 p.m., 8:02 p.m. I call this meeting back into regular session. We have no action items. So I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Motion by Commissioner Martinez, seconded by anybody?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're adjourned. It is 8:03.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.